Redditors who went to school with a celebrity. What were they like before they became rich and famous? Frank Abagnale is my dad's cousin. We were at a family wedding and he was telling us, yeah, they're making a movie about my life. Leonardo DiCaprio is playing me. He's a professional liar. So we all just laughed at him. Then Catch Me If You Can came out. Zac Efron went to a neighboring high school. He dated a girl from my school for a while. I remember him coming to some school dances. My wife was also in his grade at his school. He was a bit nerdy, but a nice guy. Pretty much just a normal dude from nowhere that ended up mega famous. My dad went to school with Vanilla Ice. I went to high school with Hayden Christensen before he was in Star Wars. He was artsy and seemed shy. Spent his time in the drama department. And was a nice guy from every memory I have. Cool. A topic I can contribute to. Went to high school with John Legend. He was a year older than me. He was clearly very talented. Lead role in most school plays. Musical acts at talent shows, etc. But he was basically just a really nice, humble guy. I wasn't friends with him, but I was an athlete who hung out with the theater crowd. I helped on set construction and sound for shows. He was a basketball fan and came to most of our school's games. His cousin was also on the team and a year younger than me. Went to middle school with Raven Simone, post Cosby. Pre That's So Raven. She was just a normal kid. But if you asked for an autograph, made a big deal about her, you got detention. Bo Burnham. Literally the same person. In the words of my year 12 classics teacher, Kylie Minogue was really smart and lovely. Danny Minogue was just lovely. I went to Northwestern W. David Schwimmer. He lived with my best friend in a house after graduating. He's an outstanding actor with a huge range, also only actor ever to make me tear up in the middle of a play. Too bad he's been so typecast now. Nice guy. My uncle went to the same high school as Britney and Jamie Lynn Spears. He rode the bus with Jamie Lynn because they both lived in Kentwood. But went to school in Mississippi. Apparently on the bus Jamie would hand out CDs of Britney's music when she was first getting started with music. Also one day he saw her crying on the bus because people were calling Britney a SLT. Lol, I'm pretty sure he hung out her house one time too. I think their parents were friends. My cousins and I used to beg him tell us stories about Britney, lol. My grandma went to the same high school as James Dean. Said he was chill and charismatic. Was kinda cocky as a result though because he knew he was hot stuff. My dad used to be a punk drummer in California. Knew Green Day when they were first starting out. He said the bandmates were cool but the lead singer was a pouty bitch that would often cancel or storm off if people he didn't like were at concerts parties. Didn't have thick skin when it came to some criticism either. Tom Hanks was in this Midwestern theater troupe way before he got famous that visited my mom's high school. I believe it was a specific workshop for the school's theater department where the students got to work with the visiting actors. She and her friend both thought he was the best one in the troupe and also thought he was insanely nice. Edit. This was in Doylestown, Ohio if anyone's curious. I always breathe a sigh of relief when someone confirms how nice Tom Hanks is. He's the one celebrity I'd be so disappointed by if a Me Too type thing came out about him. Or if there were stories of him being a major asshole. Not a super famous connection. But Avril Lavigne, Canadian musician, was the Batgirl for my baseball team. She was a cute kid and respectful. It was years later when she had a hit song that I realized it was actually her. Mom knew R. Kelly and was even in the video Summer Bunnies, but very hard to spot out, but she's in there. She said he was dating her friend and always made fun of him. She also knew Common and has her as a friend on her private Facebook. They still take from time to time. R. Kelly. Chloe Moretz is from my hometown but is a good bit younger than I am. She went to my ballet school briefly and her family was friends with one of my best friend's family growing up. So I was around her a good bit. She would have been maybe 6-8 at the time and she was just a cute, polite, kind of shy kid. There was some drama that caused her family to move to Atlanta and then New York. And I remember her older brother was the ham of the family that wanted to get into acting first. I was surprised when I heard that she was the one who'd gotten famous out of them. The gaudy McMansion her dad had built at the front lot of the local rich people subdivision still sits vacant, and one time my friends and I got drunk and went skinny dipping in the Moritz pool in high school. I don't mean to sound snarky. It really is a weird house. Kit Jon Snow Harrington went to the same 6th form college as me. Year below me. Super quiet and shy. Literally the last person you'd think would end up being famous. My husband knew Kevin McHale from Glee when he was a kid. Said he was the quiet, artsy type but super talented. Till there's an actor named Kevin McHale in addition to the basketball player named Kevin McHale. This thread has a lot more positive stories than I was expecting. James Corden. God, was he a show off. When a bunch of 10-11-year-old kids are trying to get a school play together, it helps if you don't start making up your own lines and throwing everyone into a state of utter confusion. Excellent. I'm always pleased when my random loathing of somebody is ratified by anecdote. I went to high school with Joe Keery. I wasn't personally friends with him but had a few classes here and there, and he was relatively well known in our class. Then again, in a class of 150 people it's more unusual not to know somebody. He was always very nice and friendly. The complete opposite of Steve at the start of S1 of Stranger Things. I'm really glad to see him succeed as much as he has and wish him all the best in his career, which we will watch with great interest. She's not super famous yet but she's on the brink. Olivia Cooke. She recently played the lead girl in Ready Player One and she was the love interest in Bates Motel. Sat next to me for 5 years in school because our surnames are very similar. She was my high school crush but I had no confidence. Chubby. Lame, blah blah, you know the drill. She was super nice and well liked by everyone. Once we played a school talent show gig together. The highlight of my performance career. Absolutely thrilled that she's doing so well for herself. Our town is notorious for being kinda shitty, so I'm glad someone from there made something of themselves. Went to school with a guy who is in the WWE. Bo Dallas. His real name is Taylor Rotunda. He was pretty outgoing and popular but very polite and respectful. I can't speak for others but he was always very nice to me. He did once headbutt a kid without saying a word because he was making fun of a kid with special needs. So the story goes. Anyway, I watched it happen so can confirm the headbutting. But the story behind it is what was told to me. Went to junior high school with model Ashley Graham. She was absolutely gorgeous then and now. Further, she was approachable. Had a great sense of humor and down to earth. I was a geeky little guy. But she always was genuine and nice to me. That stuck with me. I went to high school with Shaun White. He wasn't ever around because he already had a bunch of contracts and was already traveling LMAO. He also bought his mom a house at 15 Ike. Not really a celebrity. But my brother went to high school with Terrell Suggs at Chandler High. He was dirt poor. And would go around asking people for french fries during lunchtime. And my bro would buy him food. Etc. As they were good friends. I remember he came from a poor family. And would always tell us his dream was going to the NFL. He just knew he was going to make it. And everyone else did too. I have to. Nick Frost, Hot Fuzz. Paul. Shaun of the Dead, was a real fun guy. Into everything geeky and sci-fi. I liked him a lot. He doesn't need to act in his films. He's just playing himself. I was also friends with Lady Penny Lancaster, married to Sir Rod Stewart. Ultimo model. Insisted on being called Penelope. Never Penny. And was as far from SI as it was possible to be. She was certainly a late bloomer. A genuinely lovely person. I went to high school with Callista Flockhart. She was very nice. Great student. Great singer. Nice. Chill girl. All the crap in the media about her weight and all of that? Nonsense. She was always slender build. Athletic. She looks the same today as she did at Shawnee High School in 1983. Good for you. Callista. I went to the same high school as Brad Pitt. The media teacher told us that he was a major douchebag. Well, he was in the I Hate Rachel Green club. I think they started that rumor about her. Not me, but one of my aunts went to school with Bob Dylan in Minnesota. They tell the story all the time about how he sang a song in a school talent show and literally everyone thought he was awful. My aunt said all the parents were going poor MRS. Zimmerman in the audience because it was so embarrassing. My best friend's mom grew up in the same neighborhood as Alyssa Milano and said she was a total bitch. Charmed. I'm sure. Not sure if it really counts. But I played Modern Warfare 2 with Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain when I was younger. I didn't really know him. He was good friends with a guy I played with regularly. They went to the same school. Only played with him a handful of times. Was never online much. Seemed like a pretty normal teenager. Was pretty sound tbh. Obviously I had no clue who he was. My friend said he played for the Southampton youth team. I kind of fanboyed when I saw him play in a Southampton game for the first time though. My sister-in-law, before she married my brother, went to college at Glenville State with Channing Tatum in the early 2000s. They met at a bar near campus and they hit it off and went out a few times. She said he was really nice but pretty backward and shy. My close friend's high school was the rival of the high school that Ariana Grande went to in Florida. Her high school was considered the rich kid school. Apparently she was pretty popular. Was always involved with, and good at, music and theater but was completely stuck up and kind of mean. Not sure if this is true but that's what the rumors were. She left at some point to go beyond victorious. Ninja went to my high school and although I didn't know him personally, it was funny the day we asked my math teacher senior year if she remembers Tyler Blevins and she said yes of course. And asked why does the entire class know who he is and why do they call him Ninja Go? Edit, the streamer. I was on the wrestling team with Rachel Brosnahan. She was always super chill and nice. Always treated me with respect. Much better actor than wrestler. Lena Dunham was very unfunny in middle high school but otherwise just sort of awkward. I don't get the impression she changed so much as people started listening to her. Semicolon. Jemima Kirk was dumb as rocks. Not me. But my parents. They went to school with Salt and Pepper. According to my parents. They were bitches. I was in college with Tom Arnold. He dated my roommate briefly. She broke up with him because he drank too much and did too many drugs. I didn't go to school with him. I hung out with Tim Tebow, the footballer, when we were both back in middle school at camp. We were both in the same cabin. I also vividly remember one day when all of the cabins were swimming. He and I chose to spend our time digging a big hole on the beach. From what I remember he was a pretty decent person. Not holier than thou but definitely had a moral compass. He was well liked and generally interacted with everyone regardless of their social status. He was athletic but at the time he never struck me as having out of the ordinary ability. It was a Christian camp and everyone was fairly religious but he had a daily devotional that he did every night which was unusual for a middle school boy. He didn't showboat it. But I remember half thinking it was weird. And half being jealous because my sister in high school had a personal devotional she did every night and it seemed really mature. Enjoyed hanging out with him and we developed a camp friendship but we didn't keep in touch afterwards. My friend went to school with Maisie Williams who used to bully him for being fat. My old high school has an academy of a football team attached to it. So I went to school with 10 or so players who now play for English Premier League Championship League teams. Most of them were not very nice. Buster lived down the street. Nice guy. You could ring the doorbell. Hey MR. Star. Would you like to throw a football with me? Sure kid. Let me get my gear. Be with you in a minute. Been for drinks with Calvin Harris before he got famous. One of my cousins, well, one of my dad's cousins technically, but he's closer to my age, was his guitarist for Acceptable in the 80s and is still good friends with him. He used to be incredibly quiet and maybe even a bit shy. But he's a good laugh. Went to middle and high school with Halsey. She was in the same grade as me. A coworker went to school with Paul Bernardo. Apparently before he became one of Canada's most notorious rapist serial killers he was a bit of a dick. Didn't go to school with her, but Maya Mitchell from the Fosters lived in the same street as me growing up. We would play 4 hours together as kids. I was in a local performance with her as well. She was a bit of a free spirit. Really kind to everyone. All round a good person. I lived in the dorms with Andy Samberg at UCSC freshman year. I remember that he had a bunch of pretty cool hip hop and a record player in his room. He also had a girlfriend that went to another school come visit, and he talked his roommate into leaving for the night and then took the 2 single beds in his dorm room, put them on the floor and prepared our king size bed for the night. Our dorm was Cal College and he performed a really bizarre rap at the talent show second semester. Really talented guy, but his level of fame, especially when he made the jump from hustling comedy writer in LA to SNL sensation, was shocking to witness. I went to high school with Carl Newacek and Blake Anderson of Workaholics fame. They were really funny and had a Czechoslovakian rap group where they dressed up in fake beards and mustaches and rapped. It was all pretty funny and fun to see at our talent shows and such. Not directly me, but my middle school maths teacher used to teach Heath Ledger through his high school and always told us about how he misses him. Very bright personality and much of a joker, pun not intended, he was. It's not about the girls. It's about sending a message. I didn't go to school with her, but I've been around Gwen Stefani more than a few times with mutual acquaintances at punk and ska shows back in the day. As a person she was super charming and charismatic. People were automatically drawn to both her and her brother Eric. I assume nothing much has changed about her as far as that goes. Also, Todd Phillips is doing exactly what everyone knew he would be doing. An old school punk who uses his films to say FCKU to the status quo whenever possible. The uncle of a friend of mine went to the same school as Elon Musk. Most of you probably know how Elon was treated in school cause he was shy and focused on the library studying. You know you are old when you don't know 3/4 of these famous people. I am old. The original Footloose was filmed at my high school, so I kind of went to HS with Kevin Bacon and Sarah Jessica Parker for a few months. They were at the very beginning of their respective careers and both extremely nice, fun people. Many of us were extras in the movie and had a lot of casual interaction with the cast. I always win 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon because I appeared in a movie with him. Didn't go to school with him, but the YouTuber Vitaly went to my school and had my multimedia class. Our teacher showed us the videos he made there. Also Vat Baby showed us her new nipple piercings in 6th grade. Vat Baby showed us her new nipple piercings. That doesn't surprise me. In 6th grade. F-king what? My friend went to college with Michael Vick. Actually bought weed off of him a couple of times. His friends were selling it, but it was his. Told me he wouldn't say a damn word even if they were hanging out for long periods of time. Said it was a mixture of awkwardness and wondering if this guy was so dumb he couldn't speak. Not a celebrity, but I went to middle school with a guy named Kyle. Kyle, if you're reading this, I f***ing hate you. You better give me my Game Boy back, you little squirt. My mom went to school with Duff McKagan. He bullied her. Keisha. She was just kind of weird. Really liked a guy friend of mine and would not take a hint, but I didn't know her well at all, so who knows. Wife's friend dated the lead singer of the Used before they were big. They squatted at my wife's apartment for a while. She says they were all nice but just laid around the house smoking weed and eating all their cereal. Christina Aguilera went to our neighboring rival high school in Pittsburgh. To this day a friend of mine swears she asked him to the Sadie Hawkins dance and he turned her down BC he thought she was a dork.